Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to make your map in Trizbort so that when you import it into Lantern, all your objects will be set up the way you want them to. Um, there have been some improvements to Trizbort, and I have made some improvements to Lantern as well to kind of stay in step with those. So it may seem like cheating just to start with a fully made map here, but making a map in Lantern in Trizbort is very easy. You just put your rooms down. I'm just hitting the R key to put these rooms down. Then I can hover over with the mouse and I can draw out the lines that connect them. And if I double click on a room, then I get the properties tab where I can configure that object. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this particular video. So let me delete all those guys because I don't need them and I don't want them. There we go. Let's go back to our map here. Now, when we create objects, there's two ways we can do this. Let's open up a room here and just take a quick look at it. Here's our lobby. Let's open up our lobby. So the lobby has a name and it has a description. And if we wanted, and we can say whether it's light or dark. Lantern will understand that. It'll read that in. I don't know if it reads in start room or end room. End room, I know it doesn't. Start room, I think it might. The subtitle is the initial description. That gets pulled over as the initial description. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for rooms. It makes a lot more sense for objects. But so if you want the room displayed one way the first time you're in it versus all the other times you're in it, that would be the subtitle. For objects, the subtitle is the initial description. So you could have an object called sword, and then the initial description could say, "There's a rusted sword half buried in the mud," and that you'd see that instead of "There's a rusted sword here." So it makes your game a little more, read a little more smoothly. We can set our descriptions, and if we wanted to add objects, we can do that with the Objects tab, and we put every object on its own line. But one of the new things in here is this object syntax. So if you click on this little link here, it'll pull up some annotations that you can tack onto the end of your objects that control the bit flags on that object. Lantern will recognize some of these and ignore the ones it doesn't care about. So it doesn't understand male, female, neuter, proper nouns, plural, singular. It's just not that sophisticated. It does understand scenery, supporter, container, and worn. And it will also understand X for closed, L for locked, and D for door. So I added some extra ones in here. So if you wanted a closed locked door, that would be an L for locked, a D for door, and an X for closed. And if you have more than one flag, more than one bit to set, you can specify them all inside one set of square brackets. So you could one set of square brackets in there. You put all the letter indicators that change your bit flags. All right, so back to objects. There's two ways we can create objects. We can either do it the way I just showed you. You open up a room, you put in the name of the room, the description of the room, and then here you can provide a list of the objects, and you can see I've got 3 objects. They all have S in square brackets on the end to indicate these are all scenery objects. So these objects will all get created in the behind rink room. However, for some of the other objects where I wanted them to have initial descriptions or descriptions, I actually created those as standalone objects. So let's look at the hockey skates here, the skates, and notice that you see we have W and P in the square brackets on the end. So that means they're wearable and portable. And there's a description on the skates. And they're dark. So if you created objects as standalone, like as if they were rooms, make sure you set the flag to dark. Otherwise, they're going to be emitting light. And every time you look at them, it'll say they're emitting light. So that's the only caveat to creating the rooms standalone. So if you create them standalone like this, if you create an object as though it were a room, you get the chance to put the initial description on it here in the subtitle field, and you get the chance to add the description, and you can still set the bit flags. The only downside is that you have to remember to move this object wherever it needs to be when the game starts, because it's not actually created inside of a room. And that's about it. That's all we need. Oh, one thing, doors. If you want to have a door in your map, a door is a room between two objects. So what we're going to do here is we have this object called metal door. Notice its annotation says DLX, so it is a door that's locked and closed, and it will connect the walkway to the locker room. So that is how you do doors. A door is an object that connects two rooms. It's kind of when you try to move from one room to the other room, the game will see, oh, that's a door, and it will do the door check. And if the door check passes, then it will teleport you through the door into the adjacent room. So let's go import this. Oh, one other thing before I forget. If you go up to Tools, and you go to Map Settings, there's some fields here that Lantern will import. So the title, you can import a title for your game, set the author, and the description is the initial, that'll get pulled over into the description box. We'll see that here. So if you can set that up as well, and then save it. Let's save our map here. So let's go over to Lantern. So here's Lantern, and let's go open up that file. So now I'm going to say import Trizbort file. And I'm going to say yes, I confirm I'm creating a new project. And I'm going to go browse for that Trizbort file, which is called rink.trizbort. And we open that up and import complete. And now it's going to ask us to save our project. So I'm going to call this thing like Ice Quest or something, because it's COVID-19 time right now, and I really want to get back out on the ice. So I'm going to make an adventure game to share with my friends who may or may not enjoy this kind of game. We'll see. Let's go look at what Lantern did for us. So now we see we've got the project name is called Ice Quest. This is the directory that will be created when you export your project. So if you export it for Apple II or whatever, it's going to create a directory called icequest_Apple II in your Lantern folder. That's what that gets used for. The output file name here, this is the name of the binary file that gets generated that is going to end up on your disk image. So no spaces are allowed in there. And then, author and version. Other stuff which is explained in other videos. And now let's go look at our objects here. So every object here should have the bit flag set appropriately. Let's go look at the hockey skates. And here's the description on the skates. And you can see that they are portable and wearable. So those the annotation on the skates got chopped off and was used to set the bit flags. Now the skates are off screen right now because we created the skates as a separate room. So if I want to put the skates in the player's inventory, I just select the player and I select, okay, all right, now those skates are a child object of the player. And then let's look at it. What else? The hockey stick. I don't know. We could put that in the player's inventory as well. I don't know. Maybe we'll leave it there. Notice that the hockey stick is portable. And let's look at some other stuff here. The large wooden box. The large wooden box is a container. Let's make it open. And let's put it in the lobby. So I'll set its parent object to be the lobby. Oh, and that lobby should have been spelled with, oh, it is. It's correct. Yep. And everything else should be kind of okay. I mean, certainly enough for demonstration purposes. Oh, the metal door. Where's the metal door going to go? We want to put the metal door in the room where it's going to be when we interact with it. So doors are weird. They kind of are between rooms, but they have to be in a room in order. It's like if you want to unlock the door, it's got to be visible. So it's got to be in the room that the player's in. So let's actually take the door and put it in the walkway. So now the player will be able to interact with that. If you wanted a door that you could interact with on both sides, then you can set up some code that says if the player's here, put the door here. If the player's there, put the door there. You can actually teleport the door around using code inside of the game. So like the window in Zork, where you can, to get into the White House, you could open it from one side or the other side. That's what you do. You just, it's the same window, right? But you just teleport it into the room where the player is. All right, what else we got? Well, I'm actually kind of willing to give this a test. Oh, other stuff that's in here, mass. There's no real way to set that in Trizbort, which is fine. This can be used like if you want to limit what the player can carry. I think 10 is the maximum weight that the player can carry. So you can give things mass, and then the player can't carry an unlimited amount of stuff. Or you can just leave the mass of everything set to 0. Then the player kind of has unlimited carrying capacity. But that should be enough here to at least get this thing up and running. Do we put everything where it needs to go? I guess. Or wouldn't? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's try it out. And I'm going to go up to the test menu here. I'm going to say launch the player. And Lantern's going to think for a little bit. And there's our little test client. And oops, welcome to Ice Quest. So there it is. I'm in the parking lot. You are standing in a parking lot east of a skating rink. Okay, so, and then I can look, and let's go. So according to our map here, if we go west, we should be in the landing and then the lobby. And let's go to the lobby and see if the large wooden box is there. And it should be. We'll go find out. Okay, so if I go west, now I'm in the landing. And if I go west again, okay, so now notice that I'm in the lobby. There's a large wooden box here. So let's examine the box. The lost and found box is usually overflowing with forgotten items. But the gloves aren't there. So where are the gloves? And then, let's type inventory. Okay, so I'm carrying skates and a hockey stick. Okay, I got to fix the case on hockey stick. But there it is. So now I've got my room set up. Okay, now I'm in the walkway. There's a metal door here. East, the metal door is closed, right? Okay, because we set it to be closed and locked. All right, so south, there's the lobby. Can't go that way, can't go that way. All right, so all of the navigation works. And so that's, and the properties on the object seem to be good. Let's go fix the gloves. So where were the gloves? So the gloves, we created those as a standalone object. So let's put those in the large wooden box. Save our project and just run it again and just see what's different this time. Maybe I should change that font, make it a little bigger. Okay, so there's the landing. Okay, so the large wooden box contains a gloves. Okay, so Lantern does not understand like singular and plural. So I think gloves should be changed to pair of gloves. I'll change the printed name and say save and launch the player. And there it is. So west. Okay. Contains, oh, I guess it didn't, I'm not sure why it didn't work, but examine the door. Description not set. Oh, we never put a description on the door. Okay, so, but a couple of minor little, oh, you know what? I just needed to take the focus off of that field. That's all it is. I just had to lose focus on that field. And now it'll work. I'm sure. I have good feelings about this. West. A pair of gloves. There's a pair of gloves there. It works. So that's it. That's kind of, at least that's how to get your map into Trizbort. That's how to configure your objects. You can configure objects either up here in their name field, or you can configure them down here in the objects tab. Either way, those annotations are recognized. Just remember, you can click here and see what those annotations are, as well as there's some other ones like, LDX seem to be like real important ones, locked door and closed. Those seemed like they would be useful. So I threw support for those in there. And then that's kind of it. So that should be enough to get you up and running in Lantern with a Trizbort map where, all of your objects have the bit flags set appropriately. All right, well, there you go. If you need any help getting your map imported into Lantern, just let me know. Or if you have any errors, if you get any exceptions thrown, things bomb, crash, whatever, email me. I will be happy to fix it right away and troubleshoot the problem. And that's how Lantern will get better. So thanks for watching. If you need any help, by all means, just ask